Here are the 3 Gamerverse Miles Morales Spider-Man figure that we've gotten so far. These 2 are from the first Spider-Man game, and this one is from the second one. Here's the side of the box, the other side, and here's the back. These 2 has a picture of the figure, but this one is a picture of him from the game. It's actually been a long while, but I haven't unboxed these 2 figures. So let's get the figures out. Here are the 3 figures out of the packaging, and it really looks awesome when you have a figure that comes with plenty of accessories. All 3 of them comes with a pair of fists, the electrical effect hands, web shooting hands, and wall crawling hands. And of course, the new Miles have the cat, and the previous Miles have the unmasked head, and comes with the BAF part. Although the shade of red on the figure looks kind of the same, for the hands however, the previous one has the red brighter than the new one. And for the electrical effect hands, the new one is in blue, but both the previous ones are in yellow, and the translucent version has the yellow slightly brighter than the other one. Here's the cat from the new figure, and this cat is exactly the same as the one that came with the Captain Marvel figure. And here's the unmasked head. I thought this was the same as the Space Venom Miles Morales, but it is actually different. The old one have a slight smile on the face, but the new one has a more serious expression and does look kind of slightly older. For the figures, these 2 are exactly the same. This one is translucent to represent his stealth or invisible mode. All these highlighted parts are actually exactly the same over here, just that over here it isn't painted or highlighted. Here's a closer look at the figure. The white paintwork on the spider looks okay. Same goes at the back. I think the translucency level of the figure is okay. And for this figure, which is exactly the same as the translucent version, you can see the sculpted texture on the torso here, and also on other parts of the body as well. The sculpted texture is actually also present on the translucent version, but it just isn't as clear because it is translucent. Besides the torso, here's the sculpted texture on the forearms, and the whole calf section here, at the feet, the whole of the back, and at the whole head as well. You can see the sculpted texture at the black areas. And between these 2 figures, the main difference is actually at the side of the arms. The arms of the new one, from the bicep all the way to the wrist, are actually different. You have the red strip that goes from the top here all the way down to the wrist. But for the previous version, you can see the sculpted line here and the sculpted texture instead. You can see a slight difference in height. The shoulder level is actually kind of the same, but I think it's more towards the way the head is placed on the neck. This one kind of sits a bit higher compared to the new one. The red paintwork on each of the hands are also different. The new one has this red strip at the top of the hands, whereas for the previous version, you have the red at the knuckles area. It's the same for the other hands. And on the wrist, there is these sculpted web shooters, I think, on the new figure, but on the previous version, it doesn't have that. Here's a closer look at it. This on the inner side of the wrist. And one last difference is at the neck. The web lines on the new one goes all the way up to the top of the neck, but for the previous one, the web lines doesn't go all the way to the top. You can see the black gap over here when the head looks up. Here's a clearer look at it. Oh yeah, the red paintwork is also slightly different, but it isn't as drastically different as the red paintwork on the hands. The previous one is slightly brighter. Here's how the figures look like with the electric hands. I'm not sure why the new one is in blue instead of yellow. I don't play the game. And here's how the stealth figure looks like with the blue electrical hands. The color matches. All 3 of them have the same articulation. Head able to look up this much, down, and a bit of left and right. The awesome thing about this new body mold is the shoulder butterfly joint on the teenage body. Arms go up to the side this much, bicep swivel and double hinge, elbow joint, pinless, wrist swivel and hinge, ab crunch forward this much and to the back, waist swivel, this amount of split, this amount of Van Damme split, this much to the front, thigh swivel, double hinge knee joint, pinless, and ankle hinge and pivot. Good articulation on this male teenage body mold, because when you compare it with the Space Venom Spidey, it is clearly shorter and also doesn't have the shoulder butterfly joints. But I guess this representation of Miles Morales was when he was like 12 or 13, I think, in the very first run of Ultimate Spider-Man, where he is kind of like younger than the more recent Miles Morales. And here's Pizza Spidey, Gamerverse PS4 and PS5 Spideys, Renew Your Vows Spidey and Retro Spidey. And here's the cel-shaded Spidey and Julia Carpenter Spider-Woman. The cel-shaded Spidey is kind of the same height. This Gamerverse Miles Morales is really an awesome figure. The sculpt on it is really excellent, unlike other Spidey figures, because of the sculpted texture, sculpted web lines, and also other sculpted lines as well. And the articulation is definitely an improvement over the Space Venom, because even though it is on the teenage male body mold, it does have the shoulder butterfly joints. There are some slight differences between the two Miles figure from Spider-Man 1 and 2, but I think the red strip that goes down the arms isn't really much difference, and if you have one of them, I think it's probably enough. But yeah, I'm a sucker for Spider-Man figures, so I definitely got all three of them. Thanks for watching, do subscribe and check out my other reviews at my channel.